5:30, I call the July meeting of the Board of Adjustment of the City of New Bern to order. Seth, if you do a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Richard Parsons.
Here.
Peter Dillon.
Here.
Jim Morrison.
Here.
John Riggs.
Here.
John Murrell. Kip Paragoy. Barbara Sampson.
Here.
Jonathan Foster. And Ross Beebe. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. In the absence of Mr. Paragoy, I'll be chairing the meeting tonight. Next item is approval of the minutes of April 26, 2021. Were there any corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, those minutes are adopted. Seth, do you want to introduce the...
We need to make a motion to adopt the minutes.
You can't just do. I move the minutes be adopted.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are April 26, 2021 are approved. Seth, do you have any introductory remarks?
I can go through the description of the request here right now, or we can do it.
Let's do that in a minute. Yeah. Let's first, anyone who wishes to make any comments tonight, please come forward to be sworn in or affirmed.
Mr. Chairman Pro Tem, members of the board, my name is Don Eglinton. This is my wife, Pat.
Okay, and we're not ready for that yet. We're just swearing you in. But we'll get to your public comments in just a moment. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, new business for tonight. We're here to consider a special use permit request for an art studio within a building having a gross floor area not in excess of 3,500 square feet, which is use code 5.310, located at 2105 Country Club Drive. The property is further identified as Craven County Parcel Identification Number 8-039-4001.
Thank you.
Just clarifying you were sworn in. Okay, Seth, would you like to review the
Sure.
project?
Thank you for the introduction, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, board members. Again, our applicant is Donald Angleton, the property at 2105 Country Club Road. You can see in the aerial here. This is the site of the former Bethany Baptist Church. And this property is in our R10 zoning district, which requires a special use permit. The applicant went through successfully with the design review committee. We had some minor changes with screening requirements, a little bit with the driveway, and all those were made. So the application is for a private art studio, which would come as use 5.310 in the table of uses, which is a special use permit in the R10 zoning district. The property was properly posted. You can see the primary structure there in the background. So again, it went through the DRC and was approved through the June 11th, 21 meeting. Staff finds that the proposed project is consistent with all the plans, rules, and regulation of the City of New Bern with no further changes. Staff recommends or has no objection to approval of the application.
Okay, thank you, Seth. Sir, and then if you'd identify yourself and give us your address.
I would be happy to do that. Excuse me for getting ahead
It's okay.
of the process a little bit. This is the first time we've applied for a special use permit, so I wasn't familiar with the process. Name is Don Eglinton. My address is 2001 Hydes Corner here in New Bern. And as I said, this is my wife, Pat. We are making application for a special use permit. This building was built in 1999, occupied in 2000 by a church, has been used in this area as a church continuously since then, at least until Hurricane Florence. The church was impacted by the flood in Hurricane Florence, and the congregation sort of fragmented, has never really restored itself. The property became available. My wife is a retired public school art teacher. Her passion is art. Right now she's very much involved in pottery. She does pottery, has a number of friends that she does pottery with. Our intended use for this property is to convert it into an art studio where she'll produce pottery. We tried to be respectful to the neighbors and communicated with all of them in the open what our intent is, so that if any of them had any objections, they'd let us know. We want to be good neighbors. We wouldn't want to make a use that was inconsistent with anything that the neighbors were not supportive of. As far as we know, everybody is supportive of it. The neighbor that we've had most close contact with simply asked us the question, will you have any loud parties? And our answer was, well, we don't think so. Her response was, well, if you do, I want to be the first one invited, which is a good way to start neighbors. We appreciate Mr. Rockland helping us through the application process. He has been exceptionally helpful. This is the first time we've done this, and we needed, although the property's been used as a church for 20 years, to bring the property into compliance with the city's ordinances, which, working with him, we've been able to do. There is one aspect of the modifications that we'd like to have qualified, and the aspect has to do with the screening. On the property, there's screening that will add more vegetation to either side so that we don't create difficulty with either of the side neighbors. This property also has a home that is located, it's actually a landlocked home that uses the same drive behind it. The front yard of that home is very shallow. We hesitate to install screening that boxes that neighbor in. So what we want to be able to do is get the neighbor's wishes, and if she wishes not to have them there, we'd like for the board and the city to allow us not to install them, because it wouldn't matter to us, but we wouldn't want to make her property less attractive to her. Right now, she has a deck and she sees a wide range. If we screen it off, we'll close her in. So we're concerned about that, and we'd like to have an exception for that. We're excited about the project. It's not commercial, it's not industrial, it's not retail. It will be none of that. It will be for the quiet use of a handful of artists that, if you think about it for a minute, a sanctuary space in church is a perfect space for an art studio because it's wide open. We appreciate the opportunity to address the board tonight. I appreciate your consideration. Happy to answer any questions that any one of you might have.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll ask you maybe just to stay there so you don't have to pop up and down. The next segment will be 6 questions. Some of those Seth might answer, or I'll ask you to make a comment about them, and they relate to the findings of a special use permit. We'll ask those questions now. Later on, we'll go through them again and actually vote on them as a board.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay. Step 1 is the requested permit is within its jurisdiction according to the table of permissible uses. And Seth, I think you
Yes, sir.
confirmed that.
Yep.
The application is complete.
Yes,
Does
sir.
anyone have any objections to the completeness? Third one is if completed as proposed in the application, the development will comply with all of the requirements of this ordinance.
Yes, sir.
And Seth, that review, any other questions or comments? The use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted. Okay,
It will not. It should be a less intrusive use of the building than the church was in terms of affecting the neighbors.
No objections up here. The use will not substantially reduce the value of adjoining or abutting property.
It will not. We would hope that it would improve the value. That's in our intent. That's how we take care of our property.
And the use is, I believe, concur is not a public necessity. We don't need to review that. The location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan is submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of development of the city.
We believe that it will and intend to take care of the property in a way that it is helpful to the neighbors.
Any comments by board members? It's confirmed that an S special use is allowed in an R10. Are there any comments before we move on, board members? And I assume no one was here to speak in favor or against it. Is there a motion to close the public comments?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we close the public comments.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public comments are closed. Now we'll consider each of the 6 requirements for voting. We'll go through the same. You're welcome to sit down now if you'd like.
I wanted to just thank you before I do. I appreciate your time.
Before we do, were there any questions to the applicant? Nothing to clear up before we proceed?
Question about
Okay.
it. But I just wanted to, I know that when I read it, in the church, I know it was built in the church. I noticed that they had one road going to it. Is there's another road going towards the home that's in the back? Yeah, because I noticed
have it.
one road going to the church, and then I noticed was a home in the back, and I was just seeing, there was another road for the home that's in the back.
Yes, ma'am. It's a very good question. The home and the church share a driveway. One of the modifications that we will make to the church in connection with the special use permit is we'll widen that so that when cars are parked at the church, that road doesn't get blocked off and there'll still be access. It's
So
the
you
same.
will be improving the road as it sits today,
That's correct.
or driveway?
Right, it's really a driveway. It'll go from 12 feet to 24 feet wide.
Right.
Is the
I
idea.
have a question. Will that driveway be protected by an easement?
It has an easement that goes into the property that is behind it now, so it's
Part of
subject
the
to-
deed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the easement's on that small plan. Okay, if the board is ready?
But I just want to ask one more question. I
Yes,
noticed
ma'am.
was a gas, I call it a gas tank behind it, a canister, whatever you want to call it. Do that belong to the church or do that belong to the home?
Another good question. It's a propane tank. It's used to heat the church. We'll probably eventually change it to electric heat and abandon the propane tank. Belongs to the church, to the building.
Okay. Respect.
Okay, let's proceed to the vote. And if the board would consider each of these findings, number 1, the requested permit is within its jurisdiction according to the table of permitted uses. Do I have a motion?
Mr.
So
Chairman,
moved.
I would make a motion that we find that the requested permit is within its jurisdiction according to the table of permissible uses.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call.
Richard Parsons,
Aye.
Peter Dillon,
Aye.
Jim Morrison,
Aye.
John Riggs,
Aye.
John Merle, Barbara Sampson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Number 2, the application is complete. Do I have a motion?
I move that we find the application to be complete.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call.
Richard Parsons,
Aye.
Peter Dillon,
Aye.
Jim Morrison,
Aye.
John Riggs,
Aye.
Barbara Sampson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Number 3, if completed as proposed in the application, the development will comply with all of the requirements of this ordinance. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we find that if the project is completed as proposed in the application, the development will comply with all of the requirements of this ordinance.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Richard Parsons,
Aye.
Peter Dillon,
Aye.
Jim Morrison,
Aye.
John Riggs,
Aye.
Barbara Sampson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And number 4, the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Richard Parsons,
Aye.
Peter Dillon,
Aye.
Jim Morrison,
Aye.
John Riggs,
Aye.
Barbara Sampson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Number 5, the use will not substantially reduce the value of adjoining or abutting property. Do I have a motion?
I move that we find that the use will not substantially reduce the value of adjoining property.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Richard Parsons,
Aye.
Peter Dillon,
Aye.
Jim Morrison,
Aye.
John Riggs,
Aye.
Barbara Sampson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And the final, number 6, the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of development of the city. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I vote that we find that the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of development of the city.
Second.
Richard Parsons,
Aye.
Peter Dillon,
Aye.
Jim Morrison,
Aye.
John Riggs,
Aye.
Barbara Sampson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Could I have a motion to approve or deny the special use permit, please?
I move that we approve the special use permit.
I second that.
Roll call, please.
Richard Parsons,
Aye.
Peter Dillon,
Aye.
Jim Morrison,
Aye.
John Riggs,
Aye.
Barbara Sampson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Are there any conditions? The applicant has asked, and I have some wording here from the city. The applicant has asked for a condition, quote, required vegetated screening shown to the north and east property lines on the approved site plan shall be installed within 30 days of the request to do so by city staff, meaning it's not going to be part of the initial project, but could be a city staff request.
I move that we adopt that condition.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do we need a roll call on that one?
Yeah, we'll do it. Richard Parsons,
Yes.
Peter Dillon,
Aye.
Jim Morrison,
Aye.
John Riggs,
Aye.
Barbara Sampson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So that condition is approved. Any further business? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Motion approved, meeting adjourned.